Hey there, I'm Luke the Cooking Camper. Zena is hanging out inside, and we are pulling the Bronco into the air conditioning so that we can add a speaker so that when Mr. Cameraman is off-roading, the radio is extra loud. Today we're going to be installing this Motorola speaker right here. Don't really know the exact name of it or anything, but it just plugs in to the back of the radio, and then it just like totally makes it way louder, really amplifies the sound inside of the Bronco. This is called an external speaker. What's this radio you've already got hooked up called?
Ocean 1000G Plus.
And then the magnetic mic is right there. This is just gonna be the best radio setup that Mr. Cameraman can possibly get set up in here.
Those plugs, I can only listen to one zone, so I can't listen to both zones unless I have an adapter. So for now...
So this speaker will do one of the zones, even if you're dual monitoring?
Correct. Unless I have the adapter. There's an adapter that will split both of the zones, and it'll come out into a single plug that I can plug this into. I don't have that adapter, so for now I'm just going to hook this up to zone B because that's what I use when I'm off-roading.
Zena, you are the wheel mechanic out here. How's it going?
So now we're going to look at different placements where we can put this. I don't really want to put it under here because I'm over there. What I'm going to try to do is use zip ties with this bracket so I don't have to make any actual holes. So we're going to look over there and see what's available. Theoretically, I'd like to have it under the dash so it's out of the way. And I'm looking by the steering column here and I'm seeing a lot of gap. So I might be able to stick it up there.
What goes in that hole right there, right directly under the steering wheel?
That's for the tilt wheel.
Oh.
It gives it room. But I usually always have it all the way up. And I could put it here. Obviously I don't want it there because it's by the gas pedal. Then I have to run this cable wire behind the center stack to the radio, which isn't a big deal. There's a hole there. So looking up here, there's a lot of open area that I could put this thing. So that's a plus. Now, is there stuff I can mount it to? That's the question. I don't know. It's hard to see up there.
So you said you're going to mount it with zip ties?
That's what I'm going to try to do because I don't want to screw any holes in. The issue is I just can't see. There's
Okay, so Mr. Cameraman knows where he wants to put it. He is just gonna see right here, this box. This is the speaker. So he is going to figure out how to mount it right there. So we are just gonna get the best view possible.
There's a stud already there, like a screw behind it, so I might be able to use that for mounting. I just would need a nut to screw onto that stud. So we're going to take the bracket off.
Do you need me to get the zip ties?
Not yet, because I don't know if that's how I'm going to mount it yet. I might be using a screw. I'm gonna drill out this hole, make it bigger, because there's actually a screw, a stud right there. So if I make that hole bigger, I can put a nut on it, it should hold it. And I don't know if I have a nut that'll fit, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. I've got several there, and it's gonna have to be something bigger than that.
What about a washer?
Well, it's gotta be something that'll actually, I mean, I'll probably need a washer, but it'll have to be something that's a nut, actually. Yeah, perfect. Okay. And I just gotta find a nut that'll fit.
So you're saying there's already a screw like that?
There's a stud. Yeah.
What's a stud?
It's basically a screw. So all I need is a nut to screw onto it. I don't know if I have one that size though, because it's kind of big.
So right there is the bracket, and then that red screw is called a stud. So what we did was drilled out the hole to be bigger in the bracket. Now we just need a bolt or a nut to go over that so that will hold the speaker right there. So this is the drill bit that Mr. Cameraman used to bore the hole a little bit wider. And then this is a washer that we had at home that fits over the stud pretty well. So we just have to get a nut to go on top. That's that size. Well, Mr. Cameraman is somewhere looking for it, but we're at Ace Hardware. Look at all these like fun food products they have. Like these sauces that look like grenades. Local honey. Japanese barbecue. Right now they're doing 40% off of all of their outdoor plants. Except for veggies. Those look pretty bad. Okay, we just got back from Ace Hardware and Mr. Cameraman is gonna finish this up. So what did you have to get at Ace?
We had to get 5/16 inch nuts. I got a locking nut and a non-locking nut.
So just in case anybody else wants to use this stud inside of their Bronco, it's 5/16.
Well, we're gonna find out, but I'm pretty sure because we drilled out the hole on the bracket with the 5/16 bit, and I have this washer, and that was 5/16. So the only thing that could be different is the thread count, but I'm hoping that this just screws on. So that's what we're gonna find out. Now we're gonna put a washer on it, and then next I'm gonna screw on the non-locking nut. And it's screwing on, so now I just need to get a something to tighten it up. Because we're off-roading, I decided I'm actually going to use the locking nut. If I use that one, it'll probably over time work itself off. Okay, that's pretty secure. So we've got our bracket where we want it. So now we're going to put in our speaker, and we have these here. So actually what we're going to do is just put them on a little bit, and then we're going to slide it onto the bracket, and then we'll tighten it the rest of the way once we have it on the bracket, because the bracket is open at the top, so we can slide it on. And my bracket's not very tight, so I may want to tighten that up, but I'm not going to yet. I'm going to see how this goes on before I do that. This other Side is hard to get to. I don't even know if I'm on it. Okay. So there we go, and it's actually, it might move a little bit. So we're going to tighten the bracket down just a little bit more so I don't get that side to side movement, because I only got one stud. I don't know what's behind here, but there's something pretty, that's some insulation or something, and I don't want to screw into that. So I'm just going to tighten this up a little bit more until we get a little better on that. We're almost there. Is I'm gonna try to work that bracket off, and the washer's getting caught. Okay, so we're on nice and firm. That's not moving. Took a lot of elbow grease to get it to that point. That stud is very long, and my guess is the thread count or the thread distance on the nut was a little different than on that stud. So it didn't really go on real easily, but it's on. And that speaker is pretty good. I can tighten it up a little bit in the bracket, but the bracket itself is very secure. So trying to get to the nut on the other side, but look, we can rotate it however we want, and when we test it, we'll decide at what angle we want it. If we want it farther down, farther up, like that. So the next step is to run the wire.
So where are you putting the cord?
Running it behind the console. There's a little bit of a gap, and there's our wire. So we've now got it. So I'm going to pull through all the extra from the other side, and then we're going to zip tie it. Zip tie it over here under the driver's area, so it doesn't get caught in our feet. I need you to give me that light over there. Honestly, pulling it through, I didn't think it'd be that easy. It was surprising. Okay. Yeah, I don't want it there. I want it above. We're doing this. Biggest thing is we don't want this getting caught in our brake pedal or our gas pedal. So logically, best way to run it is behind this carpet. And we have plenty of extra, so we can use whatever we need to stuff it down there. And voila. So there's our speaker, and we've hidden our cord. Want to push it down a couple inches into the carpet, all the way over to the behind the console where we ran it. And now it's completely out of the way of the gas and the brake. It's below both. If it was up here, it could get in the way and get caught. But being down there, it's totally out of the way. So now we'll plug it in on the other side.
Playing musical chairs.
Okay, so now we have our cable, and we're going to plug it into the second speaker jack, because right now when I'm off-roading, I'm using the Zone B on my radio for simplex. So I need to get down there and figure out where that plug is. Speaker 2 is right there.
Looks pretty comfy down there.
Oh, it's awful. Okay, so we've got a little bit extra. We'll deal with that in a minute. The next thing we're going to do to clean up this radio install is to use some flex tubing to try to keep all of our wires together, so we don't see a bunch of wires coming off the radio. We just kind of see one single unit. So we bought some 1/2-inch flex tubing. That should be plenty if you've got an antenna and a power cord and a speaker wire.
So you're just putting that extra wire in there?
I'm putting all the wire coming out of the radio into this. I'm not going to need all this. We're just going to use what we need and then cut it. So instead of seeing an ugly antenna cord and a speaker cord, you'll just see this. There we go. Got a little bit extra speaker cord, which we're gonna stuff back in there. Like that. And then our antenna cord and everything else is there. So we're just going to kind of do something like that. And this is our power cord. We're going to kind of stick it under the carpet. There we go.
Is the installation complete?
Well, now we got to test the speaker. Okay.
So how do you test this thing out?
Well, the first thing I wanted to see is if my foot was hitting it, and it's not. So there's a place for your foot when you're driving here. Even if I'm all the way up on it, my foot's not touching that speaker, so that's good. So that means we're in a good spot. We're going to turn on the radio. And we have already talked to someone who is going to be helping us test it. So I have it plugged into my second zone. So we're going to go there. Now I'm already hearing the beep on the beep, and it sounds good. It sounds a lot louder than it was. So my volume is, we're going to put it at half, or just above half, see how it goes. It's not going to use this channel, only this one, because I have it plugged into the second zone, which is good because when I'm off-roading, that's the one I use, and that's what I have a problem hearing people on. So we're going to give it a shot. I don't know if we can get out from in the garage because we have a lot of metal in here that can interfere, but we're going to try it. So we relocated the microphone. Big reason was this has a speaker on the back. Where it was before, up here, the speaker was pointed away. Now here, it's pointed toward me when I'm driving. So when I'm listening to this first zone, the speaker is coming out of here, and on the radio, when I'm listening to this zone while I'm off-roading, it'll come out of our new external speaker, which will be much louder. So everything is adjusted and tested and good to go.
So yeah, if you liked this video, make sure to give us a big thumbs up, comment down below, and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to hit that bell so that you see the next time me and Zena upload a new video. Get out and enjoy nature and food as much as we do. Have a great one.